welcome to 2024. I know I welcomed everybody in our baby's first Christmas video, but this is the first video for me of the new year, and I hope everyone's new year is off to an awesome start. We've hit the ground running, it feels like. We're still trying to take down Christmas decorations around here. I don't know what kind of people you are, whether or not yours go up like the week before Christmas and then come down the first week of January, but we definitely still have some lingering decorations that'll probably be up until February, if I'm honest, because I love Christmas and hate trying to take it down. So last year, because I had Bennett in March, our Christmas decorations stayed up until well after Valentine's Day. So that won't happen this year, but they're still up. So for Bennett's 10-month update, he turned 10 months old on the 18th. He's weighing in around 20 pounds now. I have no idea how long he is. They kind of stopped giving you those updates, I feel like, at like the 9-month or 6-month checkup, where, you know, for those first like 6 months, it's so critical that they're gaining their weight and they're gaining their length and they're meeting their growth curves. And then lately, his pediatrician, when we've hit those, she's kind of been like, yeah, he looks great. And then doesn't really give you the numbers, which is fine. So he's growing great. He's been at the doctor a lot lately. He got really sick over Christmas with pneumonia and a double ear infection. I think I talked about that in my last video. Praise the Lord, he's healed. He's getting much better. He is army crawling. We believe he can crawl on all fours. He just chooses not to. He'll do a couple steps on all fours and then just drops to army crawling. And then he is trying to walk in his way around furniture. And for Christmas, he got 2 little walkers that he can use. He's getting pretty good at that. And verbally, pretty much, we were saying mama. Now we've pretty much just switched to papa, which is grandpa, my dad, and baba, which we figured out is how he calls for Dakota. So we're making progress. Eating wise, he's kind of all over the board. And I didn't expect that when he hit this age, because around this age, you know, all the books say you're supposed to start introducing solid foods and he still should be drinking formula. He goes back and forth on what he wants. He's been doing purees for a long time, but lately he's really been more interested in what I'm eating or what Dakota's eating. So he loves bananas. We have figured that out. So he'll eat whole chunks of bananas, eggs. Dakota made him pancakes for the first time on Sunday and he loved those. So it's been fun. It's been a big month for him. He's so busy. So for all of you new moms that either have newborns or babies on the way, let me tell you, the minute that they get mobile, I mean, nonstop action. And not every baby's the same. Some aren't as busy as others, but my goodness, my little kiddo is so busy. Constant stimulation, constantly on the go, and into everything. And I've been told boys tend to get into everything more and then just have the urge to destroy everything more. And his favorite activity, I just picked them up from this morning, is to pick the magazines up and shred them, and then leave a little paper trail all around the house. So if you're ever babysitting my son and you can't find him, just follow the paper trail. He's probably at the end of it shredding one of your magazines or books. So anyway, Bennett does have a surgery coming up in February, so prayers for that would be great. Nothing major. It's something we knew he would have to have when he was born, but it's still stressful for my mama heart to have to take him in, and we're going out of state for that to a specialist, and he'll have to have anesthesia and everything like that. So that'll be a big event coming up next month. I'm a little bit anxious for that, but that's okay. Okay, so January. I'll be honest, January's always been a really rough month for me. I think it's just because as a kid, we had these amazing Christmas seasons where all the family comes in and you have the parties and the presents and the food. I love Christmas food. And then you get to the end of the year, you have New Year, yay, and then just bleh. And part of that is coupled with growing up, we had a really long Christmas break. My mom was awesome at making the entire month of December just one big party. And when we were homeschooled growing up, so when we hit December and she was schooling us, we took the entire month off. It was kind of like our summer vacation was in the winter. So we took the entire month off and just really focused on giving. So we gave a lot of gifts to other people. We hosted a lot. We did fun Christmas activities. And so I think that's just continued for me into adulthood. And then it's like you hit January and it was back to school, back to the grind. But for me this year, it's been busier, but I still have that. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but when I hit January, it's almost like this kind of dark cloud just settles over me. And most people I hear get really motivated in January. You set your goals and you take off and you're working hard. And I have the opposite problem. I actually get really down in January. For years and years, I haven't set goals. When I was a kid, we set goals a lot growing up and I never hit them, and I always carried around this like heavy load of guilt. I used to like live and die by my goal lists. And when I hit about 19, probably a freshman in college, I decided I wasn't going to set goals anymore. Too many years of like writing them down only to revisit them the next year and realize I accomplished none of them. But my husband is a huge goal setter and he's amazing at achieving them. He sets them for each quarter and then each week, and then he accomplishes them very efficiently. He's incredible at that. And so he's really pushed me over the last several years to try to get back into that. And I have fought him tooth and nail. Yeah, it's been a while since I've listened to him on that. But this year I did write them down. But I kind of wanted to talk about that just because I have a really hard time setting goals. And a lot of that comes from this inner, I'll call it a fear in me, that if I set a goal and I don't hit it, I failed. And I definitely felt that way a lot growing up when it came to kind of any goal. And I came from a very high achieving household with my dad and my brother and my mom. Just, they're awesome. Just anything they set their mind to do, they took off and did. I got distracted along the way. So I would set the goal and then there would be 3 or 4 other things that would catch my attention. And then before I knew it, it was, the end of the year and we would all review our goal charts and I had accomplished none of the ones I set out to do, but a whole bunch of others. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I've learned when you set goals that you need to be not only realistic in what you can accomplish, but also allow yourself some grace to change the plan. So like when I was a kid, one of the goals I would set each year usually had to do with theater because that was what I was focused on. And there would be some years where I would get interested in a different production or a different dance class or something different than what I ultimately said I was going to achieve. And I would get so mad and down about that. And I learned later on, I didn't need to. I still accomplished things. It just wasn't what I originally wrote I was going to do that year. So this year was completely different for me because I'm a mother. And I realized when my husband asked me back in December what my goals for 2024 were, I listed like 3 or 4, and they were all goals for Bennett. And we got to the end of that conversation and he said, "You haven't listed a single goal for you though." And I said, "Well, sure I did. I just gave you 4. And he goes, "No, those were all for Bennett. What do you want to accomplish?" And it struck me that, my son's only 10 months old, but in the process of 10 months, we as moms, and I feel like especially as stay-at-home moms, but I think this can happen for any mother, our identity gets so wrapped up in this tiny little human that the idea of even having a goal separate from what I want Bennett to achieve was hard for me to consider. And he challenged me to come up with like 5 for the year, and it took me 6 weeks, I think. I don't think I came up with these until like the second week of January to figure out goals for myself apart from goals for Bennett. How hard it is to separate yourself from your baby. Especially as a stay-at-home mom, my 40-hour work week is my son. So a lot of people set career goals for the year. My husband has some of those set, and I have nothing in that category because mine are all focused on my baby. And so I kind of wanted to encourage any new moms that are in the same spot as me, like, first of all, acknowledge that's hard and it's okay. So when people ask you, tell me your goals for January or for 2024, I hated getting that question. And I even hated it now at the beginning of this year because I wasn't sure. I'm like, well, my goal is to get Bennett to walk, and my goal is to help Bennett get on eating more solids, and my goal is to have Bennett, doing Bible time every day with me. To actually pull yourself out of it and go, no, what are mommy's goals for 2024? That was harder. So one of the things I did to help me with that, and I wanted to showcase this just because it's helped me so much, and I'm hoping it helps someone else. I'm a creative. I hate planning. I hate to plan pretty much anything. I am a fly by the seat of my pants type person. I hated my class schedules in college. I hated my school schedule when I was younger. Sorry, Mom. I hated planning anything because I always wanted to be open to whatever the day would throw at me. You throw something in the middle of my day and it throws the entire thing out of alignment, I don't really care. I'll take off and do it. All that to say, I'm trying to get better at that. So I have this really pretty planner, and I'll link it in the bottom. It's called the Full Focus Planner. It starts at the beginning of the year with mapping out your annual goals. And then it goes into your weekly goals, your quarterly goals, and then you have daily lists of things to accomplish. So like, for example, this is what the daily screens or the daily pages look like. And I have found this to be super helpful for a couple of reasons. One, I learned, especially with Bennett in the newborn days of having to get him on a schedule, I had to be consistent about that. And I was not good at that at the beginning. For so long, I neglected the importance of setting a goal, even for something as simple as getting through the day. Because when I'm at the house, most days during the week, from morning till night, you get lost in the monotony of the same chores. You fold the same clothes, you do the same dishes, you cook the same meals, you pick up the same toys. And if I pan this around and you saw my living room, I have toys everywhere that haven't yet been picked up today, but I picked them up yesterday at 8 o'clock at night, right? And I really struggled to feel like, well, why would I bother setting goals at the beginning of the year or even just for the day when I do the same thing all the time? And then I realized, as a stay-at-home mom, I feel like I'm doing nothing. That my day-to-day life and what people would consider my career time that I would be working, I'm home doing chores. And it doesn't feel productive to me. And my husband often would ask me before I started doing this, well, what did you do today? And my response would be nothing. But then I started thinking about it, and I actually do a lot in a day. But I don't give myself credit for that, nor do I write it down to really show myself what's taking up so much of my time. And it's not supposed to be an arrogant thing. I don't use it as like a, hey, look what I got done today, but more of a reinforcement to my mommy heart to say, okay, even though I feel like all I did today was clean, look at everything I got done. So again, I'll link this. I find it super helpful. It's got your daily big three, which are the 3 most important things to get done. It has a time block section on the right side. That's really helpful too. I don't use that as much though when I'm home, but I do go into the office 1 day a week, and so I'll time block for that. And then other tasks, things to get done, keep track of notes. I have found too, moms of newborns especially, I didn't have this when I first had Bennett, and my mommy brain was terrible. And so there's a whole page dedicated just to notes. That's super helpful. I forget much less than I did before I started using this because I was, oh gosh, if you're a mom, you get it. A couple other updates for the month. So postpartum, I've had a really hard time being able to find the same time I used to find for exercise. So before I had Bennett, I was a dancer for a really long time, and I greatly miss that. I used to dance 10 hours a week, if not more, sometimes between classes and the shows I was doing, and I love to dance. And then I had Bennett, and my postpartum recovery took a lot longer than they expected it to. Again, as a stay-at-home mom, it's hilarious because so many people will tell you, well, you shouldn't have any issues exercising, or you shouldn't have any issues making time for things. You're home all the time. And I want to scream anytime someone says that, because they think that we do nothing every day. I heard someone say once that she's going to start, when she introduces herself to people, her title is going to be domestic engineer. And I like that because that's a great description of what we do as mothers every day. And finding even 20 minutes to be able to get a workout in, it just wasn't happening for me, especially in the first couple weeks after Bennett was born. The world stops the minute they need something, right? And even now, when I try to carve out time to get even a 20-minute workout in, it's okay, I'm either going to work out, or I'll do the dishes, or I'll do the laundry, or I'll clean, or I'll cook lunch, or I'll pick up the house. I mean, you get it, right? Like, choosing to take time for myself to work out falls at the bottom of the list because taking care of my family and managing the home is more important. So my husband encouraged me to try to get that part back into my life. And I've had a really hard time with that, just because I feel selfish anytime I take anything away from my kid or my husband or my home. But I started a kind of a fitness journey trying to figure out, it's really hard as a mom when you realize your body doesn't do what it used to do. And I was convinced, I bought the lies of social media, I'll be honest, that 6 months, 10 months, I'm approaching 1 year after having my baby, my body would have bounced back and we would be back to dancing and moving and looking the way that we used to before the baby came along. And for some people that does happen, but for me that did not. Really struggled with that. Just that concept of I'm not where I want to be. I'm not back to the pre-baby look, and I don't feel the best about about myself. So my husband pushed me to go out and try some new things. And, it's different. Even your schedule's different than it was before you had a baby. So you have to work harder at figuring out how to make it work. And I tried a couple of different workouts and got so frustrated by the fact that I just can't do what I used to do. And I want to encourage you moms out there, especially after you've had your kid. Those of you that bounced back, that's fantastic, and you're right back to doing what you used to do, and your body's not changed much at all, and you don't feel a difference. Awesome. Please get a hold of me and let me know how you did that, because I'm in the category of I'm living in a completely different body than I had before I had my son, and that's really, really hard. A lot of the workouts, I even tried to do bar, like a pure bar class, and the people were amazing. I couldn't keep up. A year and a half ago, that would have been something I could have done with my eyes shut because it's so similar to dance. And now these small little, what you call them, static holds, I could not do. It was embarrassing. And I left that class so defeated, and I almost quit trying. Just, that was so frustrating to me. And then I don't have time at home to do like online dance classes. We don't really have the space for it either. Our house is kind of small, and I have a baby underfoot all the time. So I prayed about it a lot, and I tried again. And my doctor had really encouraged me to start doing yoga. And I was one of those people who believed that yoga was really easy and not really a workout, and wasn't something that someone who was serious about fitness should do. And oh my goodness, I was so wrong. I started my yoga journey when I was pregnant with Bennett, actually, because they told me I would need to adjust my workouts to accommodate the baby. So I kind of dropped out of my higher intensity workouts I'd been doing and tried to focus on easier ones that were gentler on my body. And I fell in love with it. Yoga and Pilates are one of the ways I prepped for delivery and everything like that. It was wonderful. And I was really encouraged as well by my doctor to do it because of how it quiets the mind. I run hot. I'm a high-strung person in general. And as a creative too, I'm very in touch emotionally with just everything. So having a workout that unwinds you like that was really important for me to do. So I ended up finding a local yoga studio called Shine Yoga and Wellness, and I can link them below too, so you guys can check them out. And they're amazing. I had my first class a week ago, and just the atmosphere, the people, the workout itself was awesome. My whole point of this entire story is just to say that a lot of the things I used to do, I just can't anymore. And it may not ever, I may be able to work back up to the standard of exercising I used to do, but right now, as a woman, accepting that at 23, and this is hard for me too, my body doesn't do what it used to do, that's been crippling for me to try to come to that realization, because I feel like, everyone says your 20s are the time to live it up, and I was a dancer and very active and fit, and then I gave birth to this beautiful boy, and now it's almost like I'm living in someone else's body that I don't understand in more ways than one. So God's been taking me on this lesson and this journey of learning to be grateful and learning to have grace for my body where it's at. I am so hard on myself and so guilty of beating myself up every single day because I don't look like I used to, or I don't function like I used to. I can't do the workouts that I used to. There are certain things I can't even lift anymore, and that really embarrasses me because I used to be strong enough to do things like that. Taking just the first couple yoga classes that I've taken, I can keep up. It isn't too much stress on my body overall. I enjoy the calming and mind-body connection. It helps me release some of the stresses of home. It fits me. And it's been really beautiful just to find that niche for me of what works fitness-wise. And then in the yoga classes, what they focus on a lot is having respect for your body and respect for your spirit. My body birthed human. And I want to encourage any other moms out there, as I've been on this, I forget that. And that expecting my body to just bounce back to what it used to be isn't realistic, because look what it did. Look what God did with it, and with any other mother who's had a child. It's given me a whole new appreciation for when they say mom bod. That's an earned thing. And as hard as it is to be proud of it, we should be. Not that we want to be unhealthy, and that's not what I'm saying, but I'm, 2 sizes bigger than I used to be. I weigh a decent amount more than I used to weigh post my son. Having grace for yourself, having grace for where your body's at, having grace for what your body did. I guess maybe that's one of my words for the month, is having grace. I'm not saying, jump out and do yoga, although I really think you should, because it's been great for me. But finding what works for you in the season of life that you're in now is critical, and being patient with yourself and having grace with yourself to keep trying. That was a big one for me. I about gave up after that bar class and just decided fitness was no longer for me. And learning as well that it's not selfish to go take an hour and do an exercise class. And I'll make a whole other video on that whole part of my journey of learning that. That's a skill I have a feeling I'll be learning for the rest of my life. One of my goals for 2024 was to get back in shape, and that's starting with having to have grace for where I'm at now and loving my body for what it gave me, and yet being okay to push it a little bit, but respecting it for where it's at and understanding that because of what it did, it's not going to work the way it used to, and that's okay. Okay, so that was a lot. I really hope you guys are encouraged by the little bits of my journey I'm learning with goal setting and my postpartum fitness journey, just the journeys as a mom. I hope somebody can relate to that. I'll be back next month with another update. I'll keep you posted on Bennett and how his surgery goes. Let me know in the comments if there are any topics specifically that you guys would like me to talk about. I'm still kind of new at this, so content planning is something I'm working towards but not completely set on. So if there's anything you guys would like this young mom's opinion on, let me know. Thanks so much and have a great month. We'll see you soon.